Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers at Review morning briefing. It is Friday, the 27th of June. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack. How goes it, Chris?
Oh, fine. It's my last day of my current shift of current pattern of working off next week. I will miss you all dearly and sincerely, but I hope it's a very, very busy week because last time Josh took a week off, I think there was a small matter of a takeover and a managerial appointment. So I'm expecting 7 signings in the door next week when I'm not on the desk.
Yeah. Off anywhere nice? Off on a jaunt anywhere?
Not next week, no. Well, actually, up to St Andrews at the weekend and got a couple of days off, or a couple of days out planned next week. I've actually got another royal invitation next week. I'm heading off to the garden party at Holyrood on Tuesday. I think me and Mrs. Jack going for a day out. So you wait 30 odd years for a royal invitation to come along, and then 2 come along in the space of the same summer. So I'm really looking forward to a day out through in Edinburgh on Tuesday and see His Majesty for the second time.
He must be a big fan of the show, Chris. That's what it must be. He wants to talk all things Rangers. He wants to get some inside scoop about who's coming, who's going.
When the invite came through the door, it was actually for Mrs. Jack on this occasion rather than for me. When the invite came through the door, it was noted that he must just be keen to get a bit of transfer news and to discuss Russell Martin's appointment. So I had a wee bit of Rangers chat with him when I was down at the Palace a few months ago. I'm sure he'll remember me, and Rangers will be the full topic of conversation as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of you tuning in from far-flung places, so not jealous whatsoever. I'm actually heading up to Inverness tomorrow, flying up, which I'm looking forward to, visiting my brother and his family, taking my nephew to his first ever game tomorrow as well. Forest Mechanics taking on the mighty Inverness Cally Thistle, which is quite something. So, very much looking forward to that. If you're heading along to that game, folks, then come and have a chat. Not that I'd imagine there'll be many of you tuning in that are heading along to that one, but very much looking forward to the weekend. Let's talk Rangers because, of course, that's why you're tuning in. Before I forget, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the great guys at the Glasgow-based fencing company. You can trust them, folks. Are proud partners of the Rangers Review. They've got over 20 years' worth of experience and their unparalleled quality. Their qualified team is dedicated to keeping customers happy and providing exceptional work, aiming to deliver nothing but perfection in every job. They offer free consultations and also 10% off when you use the code Rangers Review on their website, willows-fencing.com. Someone asked, where's my green screen? It's totally unprofessional. I was having a few issues with that. Chris is a professional one of the two of us. So, apologies, folks, but you just need to make do with myself and Her Majesty behind me. But there you go. Someone actually asked where I got that paint. I think it was Curry. I missed the comment the other day there, Curry. It was actually an art store in Knutsford, which is a lovely little quaint Cheshire village down near where I live. It was in the shop window and I couldn't resist. But well worth a visit, folks. If you're ever down that neck of the woods, then Knutsford is a cracking little place to go to. Right, let's talk transfers, Chris, because things seem to be heating up. We're on yesterday. I was on with Johnny. We discussed Hamza Igamane at length. Of course, Lille said to be in the driving seat. Joshua had a piece on that yesterday over on the website. Folks, do go and check it out. They're not the only French club who have been shown an interest in Hamza Igamane. Other clubs, namely Strasbourg, Lens and Marseille, also said to be the clubs interested, but Lille thought to be in the driving seat. Thought that they're trying to get him in to replace Jonathan David, the Canadian striker who's out of contract, attracting the attention. I think Aston Villa and Juventus are looking to sign him. A bit put off, I was reading, by his agent wanting 15 million euros for the move, which is incredible stuff. But Lille want Igamane. Chris, no surprise there. I think we've been on before discussing Hamza. I would be really surprised to see him in a Rangers jersey at the start of the upcoming season. I've got to say, I think all the indicators seem to suggest that he could be heading out the door for a big fee as well.
I think the promo pics that were released this morning for the new third strip, Igamane is in them.
Yes.
I think that will be the first and last time that you see him wearing that particular strip, put it that way. They might have to Photoshop someone else's face on top of Hamza's body if they're going to reuse those pictures. They may well have to. I think we have seen the last of Igamane on the pitch in a Rangers jersey. All indications are that he will move on from Rangers this summer. As far as we understand it, there has been no bid made. I know there was a lot of talk yesterday after you guys did the show. There's a lot of stuff doing the rounds over the course of the day. The last update that we had, as far as we understand it, no official bid has been made. So therefore, obviously, no bid has been rejected at this stage. Rangers are waiting to see what Lille do. They're waiting for Lille to make their move. We do expect, as I say, Igamane to move on. I would imagine a fee around about £15 million would make Rangers seriously consider their options and probably shake hands at that level. So never mind Jonathan David's agent getting €15 million. Add a wee bit on top, and you can end up with a whole Hamza Igamane. So we do expect Igamane to move on. He's one of the main assets in this squad. If Rangers were to sell him round about that 15 million mark, plus with a hefty sell on, you would have to imagine that represents a really good return on a guy that this time last year no one had heard of, no one had seen kick a ball, and no one knew how good he could be and what his ceiling is. He's nowhere near that ceiling. He's nowhere near the finished article. Lille at 15 million, I think they've done well out of it. But you have to say Rangers, I think I've done well out of it as well.
Yep, lots of comments coming in, as you can imagine. I love this username. Squirrel Chaser says, I refuse to believe I'm not going to see the Moroccan prince play at Ibrox again. I feel your pain, buddy. I'm the same. I said yesterday that he's someone I really enjoy watching. I would love to have seen him more at Ibrox, but that is just the way of things. I don't think you can knock back that sort of money. I said yesterday, Johnny did say 15 million as well, which would be a good return. I'd be looking to push upwards towards 20 million. I've got to say the potential in this boy is quite something. It's no surprise to see so many clubs chasing his signature. And I can see him doing well over there in France. I think that'll suit him to a T as well. It was a joy to be in Nice when Rangers tore them apart, and he was on fire that night. And I can see him really giving defences over there a tough time. But I think that would be a decent fee if Rangers managed to get that. And of course, negotiations taking place with the players' representatives. As Chris says, they are no official bid as yet, said to into Rangers from Lille. But I think a good thing that other clubs sniffing about Igamane, Chris, that may just spark a bit of a bidding war, perhaps.
I think that would be the hope. That would be if you're the seller, you want as many interested parties as possible. If there's only one team that fancies him, there's only one team that's willing to put money on the table, you don't really have much of a bargaining position. If there's a couple, and certainly a couple of teams from the same league, that's definitely a nice position for Rangers to be in. So it's not a case of they are desperate to get Igamane out the door, and they're desperate for this money. They can afford to wait. They can afford to play relative hardball with Lille. But of course, we've been in this situation before in terms of players. I already see a number of comments saying it has to be 20, it has to be 25, it has to be 30. Ultimately, players are only ever worth what someone is willing to pay for them. And Rangers have to get used to selling players. It's a mindset change for Rangers fans. Yes, we all want to see the best players and the best team on the pitch. But if you could sell Igamane for 15, you don't need to be a maths whiz to understand that could get you £3-5 million players that can make a very big difference to this squad. How many £5 million players have Rangers invested in over the last few seasons? That's on top of what else they could potentially bring in on other sales. Obviously, what they've already got from new owners and new consortium as well. So all these things add up. You have to get better at selling players at the right time. Rangers missed the boat with Morelos. They missed the boat with Ryan Kent. They missed the boat with Glenn Kamara. Didn't really cash in on him at the right time. They got it right with Calvin Bassey. They have to get it right with Igamane. And the two sides to it. One is he goes on, has an excellent season next year, does well in Europe once again, and scores 25 domestic goals. Does his fee go up? Of course it does. Flip side, he could pick up a bad injury. He could not fit into Russell Martin's style. He could have any other range of issues. His fee goes down. That's the gamble. And right now it's a gamble that Rangers don't really need to take. If you're making that kind of markup on a guy that you scouted, and you have to say an excellent bit of scouting, an excellent bit of recruitment from Niels Coppin this time last year.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to get that kind of markup and that kind of profit on someone, it makes sense just to take it, to move on. Could he be a really good player for Rangers next season? Of course he could, but there's no guarantees. And I think it makes sense for Rangers to sell at this time and to go and reinvest that fee into improving a squad that, as we've said for a long time now, needs a lot of work done on it.
Yeah, there's a comment that came in there about a sell-on and what's Far Rabat, or Far Rabbit, as Stuart says. I know he means AS Far, I think, is a club that he came from, Rangers. Do we know if there's a sell-on that thinks? I don't know if when he first signed, I think was it 1.7 million there or thereabouts they brought him in for, Chris. I can't remember seeing if it was everything's undisclosed as we know these days, but I can't remember seeing if they had a sell-on themselves. Off
the top of my head, I don't know, but I'll add it to my list of things to try and find out over the course of the day. You would assume they would do. There's a lot of deals these days do, certainly on someone with that potential and that profile. If Rangers manage to get him for that fee without a sell-on, then they've absolutely stolen him. But you would imagine there would be something. But see, don't quote me on it. But we will try and find out. And of course, we'll have that on the site and on the show.
Yep, another player where there's been a lot of noise is Cyril Dessers, of course. In that piece from Joshua yesterday on the site, folks, we confirm that Rangers and AEK Athens haven't met in the middle with regards to his valuation. I've seen a report over in Greece yesterday that they're 1 million euros apart. Discussions are ongoing between both clubs, but AEK Athens not near where Rangers value the striker. And I'm quite comfortable with that, Chris. Now, I know there's a comment coming in from the Sniper, and we'll touch on this soon. He says, so selling both Dessers and Iggy with no actual signs of replacements. There is a potential replacement lined up, which we'll get to, but if Igamane goes, if Dessers goes, it does leave Rangers light. I know Danilo very much enjoyed seeing the pictures of him grimacing in training that Rangers have posted in the last few days. He would be the only sort of out-and-out forward at the club, should the pair of them leave at this point in time. But Rangers are quite right to stick to their guns on Dessers here, Chris.
Again, like a man situation, they don't have to sell. They're under no financial pressure to sell. And if someone wants Cyril Dessers, they have to pay what Rangers are looking for. I think we had on the show and we had on the website, and we discussed about it maybe it was a fortnight or so ago when this story really kind of started to kick off. And there's a lot of talk about a deal's been done and it's going to happen. It's this, that, and the next thing. And I think we kind of downplayed it a wee bit at that time and said it's not as far along the line as has been reported elsewhere. It's not as far along the line as people are jumping to conclusions a wee bit, and it's not really changed that much over the days and over the last couple of weeks. Rangers have a figure. That figure has not been met, and until it's met, then Cyril Dessers will remain a Rangers player. Also, the wider picture, if you're looking at potentially selling Dessers, and looking at Igamane moving on, you've already lost Václav Černý. That's a lot of goals that you're taking out of a Rangers side that wasn't exactly brimmed with them last season. You're taking 3 goal scorers out of a side. There's not really that many left. So, yes, it's a problem. We know Champions League's coming up. We know the start of the season's coming up. But Rangers are not going to lose Dessers and Igamane and not bring other forwards in. Now, there's a huge pressure on whoever does come in, they then have to hit the ground running. They then have to prove that they can be proven goal scorers and regular goal scorers. But that's the work for the recruitment staff. That's the work for Russell Martin. That's their call. They then have to go and put their faith in someone else. So I wouldn't be too concerned the fact that there's potentially 2 strikers heading out the door. There will be strikers coming in, and as you mentioned there, we believe that Dor Turgeman is one of them.
Yes, absolutely. He's high on the Rangers' priority list. Interest sort of surfaced a good number of months ago now. Rangers keen on the big Israeli striker of Maccabi Tel Aviv. That's dependent, of course, on Igamane or Dessers heading out the club, but he's certainly someone Rangers have their eye on, and I think he'll cost somewhere in the region of about £5 million for Dor Turgeman. Got to say, Chris, if they manage to get 15 million plus for just Igamane alone, then investing, you just touched on when we spoke about it earlier, 5 million on one player, maybe looking to bring in 2 other players of real quality. 3 players for one. That's what this fabled player trading model is all about, is it not?
How many times has the phrase player trading model been used over the last 5 seasons or so? Probably even longer than that. As I touched on earlier on, Rangers have to get better at this. I know we can laugh and joke about it, but it's a huge part of the business model, and it's been a huge part of the problem over recent seasons. They've not bought the right players, they've not sold the right players, and when they have bought the right players, they haven't sold them at the right time. Now that's not a sustainable. It's not sustainable in a football sense. It's not sustainable in a financial sense. So they have to get better at it. This squad, it needs squad players. It needs guys who can do a job, for want of a better phrase. It needs a real injection of quality as well. It needs some players round about that £3, £4, £5 million mark that you can say they will be an improvement, they will be reliable, they will be robust, they will definitely do the job over the course of a domestic season and over the course of a European season as well. So they have to get better at it, and I think selling Igamane for 15 and say bringing in 2 or 3 real quality players. Yes, it's maybe sore for the fans to see a good player like Igamane head out the door, but there has to be checks and balances here. You can't have everything. You can't keep huge assets like that and just continually go and reinvest. There has to be, checks and balance on it. And I think if you can sell Igamane at this time, bank a huge profit and reinvest that, but importantly reinvest it well, then that puts the team and the squad in a far better place.
Yeah, well, accounts. Is Turgeman, is that how you pronounce it, Chris? His surname?
I'm not sure. My knowledge of Israeli language is not that great, but we'll try and find out. You're the language expert. You're the man that told us the other day it's Aaron's rather than Aaron's. So I'll leave it in your capable hands to go and find out how we pronounce Turgeman, because it's obviously important for the guys that are going to be making his song. We need to know how you actually pronounce his name.
Yeah, Tom Miller and the likes as well. They need to know how to pronounce it properly. They should do that. I mean, they do it in the Premier League, and other clubs do it as well. Get the players in front of a camera and let them say their name, folks, so we know how to address them. And thanks to Stephen, he says it's Hebrew, Chris, not Israeli. Yes, it's Hebrew. The Hebrew loyal, as Stephen messages in there. Moving on, then. So that is that. A few comments coming in. We'll address those that are coming in just now. Interesting point from Fall Victim. He says, just Derek, would you anticipate selling him having a domino effect with incomings, potentially Turgeman and the Croatian lad? This is the boy Matija Freigen, of course, who's been linked as well from Westerlo. He was speaking actually about that reported interest in him, and in an interview he says he would suit Rangers and suit the Scottish game given his physicality. I thought that was pretty interesting. A number of clubs interested in him, incidentally. Hamburg, I think, is one of those, and there's a few others chasing his signature. But that point about selling one, I remember back in the day when the 2004-05 season, Helicopter Sunday season, Rangers sold John Allen Boom song in the winter window, and some, including myself, are thinking, oh, you just get to see him for 6 months. He was an absolute Rolls Royce of a player, but Rangers used that money to bring back Barry. They also got Thomas Buffel, and they bring Kyriakos in at that point, I think, as well, which really boosted Rangers, and they went on and won the title. So as much as it might pain many, including myself, not seeing Hamza again, Chris, if it comes for the betterment of the team, that's the main thing, it has to be said.
It would be a slow one, because Rangers fans, they've not seen the best of him. This lad has got so much more to give. I think they've enjoyed watching him. There's been some real highs in there. Parkhead, obviously, you mentioned that night in Nice. The tricks and the flicks and the unpredictability. He's different to watch. He's fun to watch. The type of player that when he gets the ball, you don't know what he's going to do. Defenders don't know what he's going to do. And he's just so different to the other forward options that Rangers had last season and that have at present. So yes, on one hand, it's a disappointment that we won't get to see him, because I think he's capable of doing some great things with the ball. He's capable of scoring some great goals. Is there any guarantee that he fits into a Russell Martin side? Potentially not. And I think that has to come into it as well. For all the good sides and for all the exciting sides about him, does he have the work rate? Does he have the tactical discipline to operate as a number 9 in a Russell Martin side? Potentially not. And I think that will come into the thinking. If you are getting that kind of money for a guy who's not guaranteed to start, who's not guaranteed to be your number 9, then I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, feedback into a point we made quite a few times towards the end of last season. He should have been played more at number 9. His value could arguably have gone up, and he could be worth even more if his numbers had looked a wee bit better. Now, overall, his debut season, first season in Europe, obviously, first season at this level of football, it has to be classed as a success. In those dead rubber games, you give him a couple of games at number 9. Does that potentially add another 5 goals onto his record? Does that potentially add another 1 or 2 million onto his asking price? Maybe. But I think the fee that they will get, or we expect Rangers to get over these coming days, so I think it's good value, and Rangers fans can now wish him well, which I'm sure they will do. And really interesting to see where he goes and what he does, because I don't think this will be the first big money move it will be the first big money move. It certainly won't be the last. He will go to Lille. You expect him to go there and do really well. And actually interesting to see where he moves after that. Is he a Premier League player in waiting? I think there's every chance.
Yep. Paul C with an interesting point. He says, most exciting player to watch since Laudrup, which is quite the statement there. I'm just trying to think, since Laudrup, exciting players we've seen at Ibrox that would, nobody could really lace Laudrup's boots when he was on song. Ryan Kent at times was unplayable and was a joy to watch. I said that yesterday, he's Hamza's Gascoigne-esque. He's a street footballer. He gets bums off seats. One of those guys. I'll miss the Megs, that sort of stuff. Almost like he was on some sort of one-man mission to get as many Meggies as possible. But in today's game, I said it yesterday as well. It's football these days is for me pretty boring, tepid, and robotic. And it's very rare you get guys, natural-born entertainers that just go out there and excite and light up a football match. So Igamane falls into that bracket. Laudrup, Davy Cooper was one, of course. Rangers had Gaza. But since Laudrup, it's not many that come to the top of my head. Chris, is there any I'm not thinking about here?
I think in terms of exciting, that's a good difficult one. I saw a couple of shouts for Michael Bowles in the comments as well. You mentioned Ryan Kent, a guy actually we spoke about the other day there. Joe Rebo, I think he falls into that category. Someone who just has a great close control, great ability, great vision. As you say, that the game has the game's almost like ruined these type of players because they generally don't thrive anymore. It's very structured, it's very patterned, it's very robotic. These type of guys that have that upbringing like Hamza has, how often do we see someone like that? And I think that's why the Rangers fans have enjoyed watching him as much over the course of last season, because he could just do something different. He was unpredictable. He was exciting. He certainly ticked that box, and I'm sure the Lille fans will certainly appreciate him as well.
Yeah, so many comments coming in, guys. Didn't sort of recall. Gavin and many others saying Amato. He absolutely loved Amato. Yeah, he was certainly one that has excited the fans. And this is one bit of left field, but bang on by Scott D. In a time when Rangers were in the dark times, of course, when going to Alloa and Brecon away. He says Nathan Oduwa. Remember him and his disrespect shown for his rainbow flick against the mighty Wasps back in the day. But I wonder I think he's, I'm not too sure if he's got a club anymore. I'm sure he was out of football a season or so ago. He was playing abroad, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a bright light in what was otherwise in fact, I think it was Warburton that brought him in at the time, wasn't he? So that season was pretty enjoyable as he got Rangers back on track. But Odua's a great shout. What's your recollections of Nathan Odua, Chris?
Outside of that particular Stramash and fallout, which was all an absolute nonsense back at the day, not that many. I must have spoken to him a couple of times during the course of that season, in various press conferences and stuff, but I don't think he was put up that often. He made a really. Did he not end up in Cyprus or somewhere like Spain? So he didn't just have a career down in the English lower leagues, but I certainly wasn't good enough for Spurs. Ultimately, he was never going to be good enough for Rangers, but he certainly had that. He certainly had a bit of confidence to go and try these things, and I said that was a good old Scottish football rammy that should never really been a rammy.
Yeah, I remember Rangers played Wraith Rovers, I'm sure, at Ibrox, and they had a mazy run. It was almost Gaza against Aberdeen-esque, and they basically took on the whole team, ran up the park and laid it off for someone to score. I can't for the life of me remember who it was. And at that point, I think I remember saying to my dad at the time, because he was on loan from Spurs, and I said, this boy will go for about 40 million. Rangers will be lucky to see him in a Rangers jersey this season, but it never quite materialised for old Nathan. But there you go. Gaz with the point, Kanchelskis, he was another one, absolute joy to watch. But they're few and far between, that's for sure. I would like Rangers to go and get a player like that every season. That would be nice, just to excite the fans. A few comments coming in. I've seen this over in the Netherlands yesterday, and no idea where this has come from or whatever, but Craig and a few others saying, any truth in it? Luke de Jong, very experienced and cracking striker. See that he's, I think he's been speaking to the press over there in the Netherlands, and it looks like he's moving on from PSV, and he says he's got one more challenge in him, and it's likely to be abroad. De Telegraaf, the big publication over in the Netherlands, have said Rangers may be an interested party, but who knows? They might have just chucked their name in amongst many others. But Luke de Jong certainly caused a bit of damage when Rangers played PSV last time in that match over at the Philips Stadium that I tried to forget, Chris. But he's a good player in his day, reaching the sort of the twilight years of his career now, though.
Very good player in his day. Is he too experienced? I know we do like a wee bit of experience in our squad. I think if you call him experienced, it's maybe just a nicer way of saying he's maybe getting on a bit and he's a bit old. I think he could certainly do a job for Rangers, but it's not one that we've heard. I saw the rumours yesterday. Not had anything on it to suggest there's anything in it, but again, it's on a list of a rather long number of names to try and get to the bottom of, but I can't say anything on that one, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or whether it's a likely one or not.
Yeah, he's 34. I actually thought he was older than that, but there you go. Luke de Jong. Other points coming in. I like this from Stuart. He says, not to sounds a bit defeatist here, Stuart, but I get his point. If we lose to Panathinaikos and lose in the Europa qualifier, do you think we could actually win the Conference League? I think someone asked me this. I'm not too sure if it was on a Q&A show or in a video before. And I said that the expectation, should Rangers drop into the Conference League, should be to go and win that trophy. So, yeah, I would be expecting Rangers to go all the way in that. I'm not entirely sure some of the teams that are in that competition this season, but yeah, you'd like to think, given the sort of calibre of sides that have went on and won it in recent years, Chris, that Rangers would be able to go quite deep in that tournament.
I think that would certainly be the expectation. I think if they ended up in that competition this year, people would say, why not? When you look at what they've done in the Europa League over recent seasons, you look at some of the teams that they managed to see off over recent seasons. I think if Rangers ended up in that Conference League, there would be a real feeling of, well, why can't they have a really good crack at it? Slightly defeatist by saying that they might end up in the first place, but if you look at the potential routes through these next few weeks, there's every chance that Rangers find themselves in the Conference League this season. There's a tweet doing the rounds yesterday. I actually sent it on to a couple of colleagues looking at the Europa League qualifying round. Rangers somehow and bizarrely would be unseeded in that round. A side that got to the quarters last year and a couple of seasons ago got to the final. I'm not really sure how they end up unseeded, but they do. On the seeded side, teams like Shakhtar, Besiktas, Braga, PAOK, Midtjylland, Legia Warsaw, and Anderlecht and Utrecht. So not exactly a gimme in terms of getting through, and that's just the third qualifying round for the Europa League. So that shows how difficult these next few weeks are going to be for Rangers to try and negotiate. But fingers crossed they can overcome Panathinaikos, and we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come. I've seen that as well. Some tasty teams, and not teams that Rangers would. I mean, Rangers have had a great record in Europe. The only real Scottish side to really do the coefficient justice, and ever since Gerrard came to the helm. But you wouldn't fear any of those teams, but it would be difficult. Of that, there is no doubt. We'll wrap up with this. The Sniper and a few others saying thoughts on the third kit. Sort of touched on it earlier, Chris. I've seen its divided opinion online. Got to say, I think it's quite smart. I'm a fan of the sort of grey-black kits. It looks good. I like the crest that the Rangers badge is in. Sort of harps back to the first Nike strip that came out in the Shield that the crest was in then. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. Your thoughts?
I think I prefer it if it's all the one colour. I don't know. I don't think they've also had these contrast ones before. Certainly with the white and the red, I think it looks better if there's a bigger contrast. I would go all grey or all black. But as you say, I do like the crest with the Shield. That's a nice touch. Something I actually quite like to see more often on a blue home kit. I think that would look quite smart. Yeah. But as I always say when these questions come around, if there's someone lifting a bit of silverware in it come the end of the season, it'll be remembered really fondly. If it's remembered for a League Cup third round exit somewhere, then it won't be at all. So no pressure on Russell Martin and these players. That will determine how this kit is remembered in years to come.
Yep, and if you're on Twitter, then we are giving one of those shirts away, folks. So head over there. We've got a giveaway going on. So yeah, if you want to win that jersey, then go on and take part. We cannot enter, unfortunately, but yeah, many of you will do. Bolt Your Ball Bag gets in touch. Thanks, guys. Great show, as always. Back to the 37-degree heat and a dip in the pool. So yeah, just rubbing it in there, buddy. But thanks for tuning in all the same. Big thanks to Chris, as ever, for joining us on the show. Enjoy your time off, Chris. Very much deserved. And yeah, myself and Joshua will hold the fort next week. Enjoy your weekend, folks, whatever you are up to. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the website as well. Keep your eyes peeled on the social media accounts. If there's anything coming out of Ibrox with regards to transfers or whatever, you'll hear it here first. Right, we'll speak to you later on. Bye for now.